Good afternoon, gentle fellows, and please excuse the weird beginning of this new clip, but I suppose that sooner or later what you have just heard happened to every gramophone enthusiast. You have your super gramophone with its half dozen springs fully loaded, ready to go. You put the record on and then whoa, 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 whoa. It turns out it just can't pull it. Sometimes there are these odd records that, for one reason or another, exerts a terrible drag over the needle. In this case, the record looks quite alright, although perhaps it has a kind of muddy appearance, which perhaps is due to some kind of essudation, which is perhaps in turn due to the way in which it was stored. I remember talking again with my friend Andy Briggs about this, that perhaps some records essudate some kind of compounds, and this is prone, by the way, to react while being played with thorn needles, and the surface gets like a burned look, which looks very odd. In any case, what I would like to see, if also in this case, treating the record with Ibota Wax can do something to help. This record also has a crack, a line crack in this area. I don't know if you can see it, so it will really put the thorn needle to a high stress. Oh, let me just add that this particular record also has an historical importance to me, because when I was a very young kid, and I was given my first gramophone by a pair of cousins who were really old, even back then. This was the only 12 inches record that I had, and of course I didn't have any pal who knew anything about records, nor relatives or whatsoever. So I thought that this record was indeed a rarity, and it looks so weird with, so big with that little label in the center of it. And only many years later I had to understand that 12 inches, 78 RPM records are absolutely normal. However, here's my little story about it. Alright, first of all, we will try to clean the record as well as we can. You haven't seen this phase in the previous videos because I was sure that I washed multiple times the records I have treated with Ibota Wax, but in this case I don't remember ever trying to clean this record, so we're going to clean it now, as we don't want to stuck dirt particles deep in the grooves, which may be locked inside the groove by the Ibota Wax itself. Alright, while the record dries up, I would just like to add that as soon as I submerge it in water, an intense smell of flintstone came out. This is not the first time that I associate flintstone with 78 RPM records. Many times while opening the lid, the smell of flintstone came out, but as long as I remember, this is the first time that I smelled flintstone while washing a record. Again, I ignore what it is. Perhaps it's that kind of essudation I was mentioning before, but perhaps not. I really have no idea. I just thought that I would mention that an intense smell of flintstone came out. It might mean something. Consider that this record was absolutely impossible to play. I have always thought that flintstone was one of the compounds, perhaps, that went into the composition of at least some of the Italian records. But this soapy water smelling of flintstone really opened up new scenarios, although I really don't know at all what it means. Well, time to pour some Ibota Wax over the record. Once again, there are much better clips than this one to learn how to use it, just to show for a while what we're doing to this record. Again, we're gonna spread it all over with a piece of cloth and then put the record on a gramophone and begin to make the grooves up. Few final words as usual with those who were so kind to watch this video clip up to this point. Well, my main goal was only to have this record being playable again on a gramophone in whichever way, but it turned out, as you could see, that it could be played with a thorn needle after having been treated with Ibota Wax. Once again, I would like to stress out that this video clip is not about how well thorns can play a record. This record was problematic and had a lot of issues to begin with. It was worn out, it was covered by some kind of essudation, and most of all, it was pressed eccentrically. Eccentric records are really the death of thorn needles. I tried to solve this issue a bit by reworking the central hole with this file, and these are small tools that I craft myself by cutting in half files that are specific for chainsaws. But of course, this record will never be perfect again, even though, as you can see, after having been treated with Ibota Wax, it looks shiny and in much better shape than before. But most of all, a thorn needle can go through it up to the end with very decent results, I might say. Even though this was not, of course, a high-fidelity recording of it. Actually, this video clip was filmed with a standard smartphone with the microphone pointing back. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very happy with this record that I will play many times on gramophone from now on, and I wish you a good evening and see you next time.